So welcome everyone. I know we have at least one or two more people still on their way, but we're going to get started anyway. I'm not as militant as Kevin Ward, for those of you who know, I think all of you know Kevin. I don't start right at 9, but we have a few more people coming. I want to introduce you to Robert Evans, who is our audio video guy. We're going to be recording the whole thing. And once we have it all finished, you guys will all get a copy of it so you can remember all, keep track of all the stuff that we learned. So we'll be bugging Robert to get that completed as quick as possible. So anyway, I think most of you, if all of you, is there anybody here who doesn't know me from before? Or yes, that's right. So we do have, so I'm Mike Wolf, and I've been investing in real estate for almost 27 years now, and got into it totally by mistake. I remember at one point I was going to university and I was living my parents' dream. They wanted me to be a lawyer, and so I was getting my degree up in Calgary, Canada. And there's no pre-law program, so you have to get a degree in something else first. So I got a psychology degree, which I've never officially used. But after I got that degree, I had a whole bunch of student loans, and I thought, well, before I go back and apply to law school, I want to pay these loans off. And I got a job at the phone company. A friend of mine, his mother was a manager at the phone company, which back then was a government job. It was union. It paid quite well. And while I was at the phone company, I discovered a couple of things. Firstly, that I'm not cut out for the corporate world whatsoever. I suck at that. And I don't really like the rigidity of being told what time I have to be at work and what time you get your break. It's just not my thing. And the other thing I discovered by mistake is real estate. So while I was there, I made pretty decent money. Like I said, it was a government job, so they paid more than people should get paid to work at a phone company, which was good for me at the time. And I was basically buying my first residence, my first home to live in. And when I did that, after I completed that, my mortgage broker goes, you know what, you make enough money and your credit's good enough that if you want, I can get you another mortgage. And at first I thought, well, why would I want another mortgage? Now I wish I heard those words every day, I can get you another mortgage. So I basically thought, if it makes sense to own my own home, wouldn't it be kind of cool if I had another property and somebody else was paying off the mortgage for me, and let's see what happens. So I bought a second property. We put some tenants in place. I didn't really know what I was doing. The stuff I'm going to teach you today, I had no clue about any of this stuff, but I bought it, and a couple of years later, the market took off in Calgary where I lived, and that home and the one that I lived in went up considerably, and all of a sudden I was sitting on a lot more money than I ever thought I'd see. Not only could I pay off my student loans, but I had a lot of money left over after that. And I started to think, you know what, in the last 2 years, I made more money on this property in real estate, not even knowing anything about real estate, than I did working at this job, going there 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, which I didn't really enjoy. And that was the start of my real estate career, and totally by mistake, and it was a great mistake. But the other side of that equation is sometimes when you do something and you get lucky by mistake, the biggest problem is then you think you know it all. And so I went from making a sizable amount of money to, on the next couple of deals, losing almost all of it. And so I'm going to teach you how to not do that, and also how to do things properly. The stuff that I've learned over the last 27 years, the best practices, the stuff that worked, the stuff that didn't work, all led me to where I am today, teaching you guys. So one of the biggest mistakes I made when I first bought that first property, it wasn't, hey, I'm going to buy this piece of real estate, I'm going to get rich quick. That wasn't my mindset at the time. But when I made that money, when I got into the next property after that, it's like, well, okay, that was awesome. I made this money, but I don't want to wait 2 years for my next big paycheck. I want to figure out, how do I do this quicker? How can I, every 90 days make a paycheck like this? And so I went from having the mindset that this is going to be my retirement and this will supplement what I'm doing, to, hey, I'm going to quit everything else, and I'm not going to go to law school, which I have to tell my parents. They're still pissed at me for that. But I quit the job at the phone company because I thought I had it all figured out. And so I went from having this long-term approach to real estate to, hey, I got to get rich quick. And that was a really big mistake, because real estate, to me, is a lot like planting trees. If you were to plant a seed today, eventually you will get a tree. It's almost guaranteed you're going to get a tree if you plant the seed. But it's not going to happen tomorrow. So you have to have a realistic approach to it. So that's the one thing that I learned. The other thing that I learned, and I want to congratulate you guys for being here, is I went from doing that first deal to thinking I knew everything about real estate. And so I didn't go find a mentor. I didn't go to any classes. I didn't ask somebody else who was doing the things I wanted to do. I just thought, hey, well, it was really easy, so I'm just going to duplicate it, and I'm going to do this again. And like I said, if it had been something strategic and skillful, or if it's because I knew something and I figured out how to apply it, that would have been a lot different than just going and saying, oh, well, I did this, I got this big check, so I obviously am really smart when it comes to real estate. As soon as you become a know-it-all, you're going to get, well, I'll just say that I had a very, very humbling lesson when I started to become a know-it-all. So I want to congratulate you guys for being learn-it-alls, and most of you are Kevin Ward students. That's how I know a lot of you. And so I know that Kevin is awesome at what he teaches, and I'm glad that Kevin has faith in me to recommend that I teach you guys this side of the business. And is there anybody here how many of you are realtors? I think almost all of you are realtors. Who's not a realtor? Okay, so we have a couple of non-realtor people here. So I'm going to try and make it for both realtors and non-realtors. I actually, my start in real estate, shortly after I had that success in real estate, I became a realtor myself and started to, because I wanted to have access to the MLS so I could find all the good deals. And as many of you know, if you're realtors, it's pretty hard to find good deals on the MLS. If you're a realtor and you see a really good deal and you actually put it on the MLS and don't buy it yourself, make sure you call me. But that's usually not how you're going to find good deals. So anyway, so that's kind of my story. That's how I got started in things. And over the years, I went from being that know-it-all to what I call learn-it-all, where, just yesterday, for those of you who know who Brendan Burchard is, I was at one of his events. That guy's one of my favorite mentors. He's not, for those of you who don't know him, he's not a real estate guy, but he teaches marketing and how to get your message out there in a bigger way. He teaches high performance. Really great guy. I quite often volunteer at his events. Yesterday I was there actually as a student. But I help a lot of people in the industry that are doing good things, including Kevin. Most of you know that I volunteer for him most of the time. But you'll often find me in classrooms. And tomorrow I'm actually going on a cruise where I'm hanging out with 400 really smart marketing people because I want to find some really good people for my team to get my message out in a bigger way. So once again, I want to congratulate you guys for being a lot smarter than I was when I was trying to figure this stuff out and just winging it. So I'm glad you're all here. So I want to talk to you, first of all, about why real estate. We have all these different options, all these different things that we could invest in. And I've invested in a lot of them over the years because after I became the expert in real estate, I also decided I was going to be an expert in the stock market. I was going to be an expert in all these different things. And I tried a bunch of them, and I can tell you that I've had a lot of humbling lessons doing that too. And what I've realized is that there's some very, very distinct advantages to real estate. The biggest one, and as I mentioned earlier, I get a lot of people that come to me and they want to get rich quick. I don't know the recipe for that. I can't teach you how to get rich quick. I can teach you how to get wealthy from real estate. I can teach you how to build a really awesome lifestyle from it. But once again, we're planting seeds. We're not, there's no shortcut to planting these seeds. So if you start off with a bunch of money, it's very easy to create an awesome lifestyle with real estate, but not everybody starts off at that place. So I want to teach you how do we build this safely, how do we build it strategically, and how do we do it so that we don't get, I know so many people that lost their shirts when the recession kicked in, and probably everybody in this room knows somebody who did that. So the recession for me was really, really good from a financial point of view because I was prepared for it. And the stuff I'm going to teach you will prepare you for it too, so that you don't, lose all your assets. So a lot of people, make money when the market goes up, but it's being able to make money when the market's going down that separates the sophisticated investors from the rest of the pack. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. But the reason why several reasons why I love real estate. There's several reasons why all the richest people on the planet are investing in real estate. So you have people like Warren Buffett and Robert Kiyosaki. They invest in real estate not because they need the cash flow, not because they even need the appreciation from the properties, but there's some really big tax benefits from owning real estate. So in this country, you guys have some really awesome things that we don't have up in Canada, which is why I invest here, not there these days. One of them is the 1031 exchange. So if you buy some real estate and you make some money on it, and then you take that money and use it to buy more real estate, the capital gains get deferred. And if you're like me, why would you, until basically you get rid of your properties. And if you're me, and after I finish teaching you guys, why would you ever want to get rid of your properties? That's something I'm going to pass on my properties to my daughter with a lot of instructions and my team. And then the instructions are that this is going to go to my grandson and so on. It's going to keep going from generation to generation. And so I never want to get rid of the goose that lays the golden egg. If I sell real estate, it's only to buy more real estate. I never will sell my real estate to do anything else. So that's one big advantage. You also have something that's very unique to real estate, and that's depreciation. So where else can you buy something that's going up in value and it's giving you money every single month, and yet the government will give you they'll let you write off some of the money that you make, even if it's as a realtor or doing whatever it is that you do for a living. You can actually bring down your taxable income by owning real estate, which is why a lot of very wealthy people focus on real estate for that reason. And so I'm going to teach you a little bit more about that. But the other thing that I love, one of the biggest things that I love about real estate is, for me, most of you know that my lifestyle, I'm on airplanes like almost every day. I'm always in warm places. If you follow me on YouTube and Facebook, I'm always in cool spots. I am not dealing with Canadian winter right now. I've done enough of those when I was younger. But it can create an amazing lifestyle for you. Now, if I had $1 million in gold under my mattress right now, it only does me any good if I sell it. If I sell it, then I have some money to play with. So cash flow is king. And a lot of people say cash is king. It's a cash flow that's king. Because if I can create something that gives me steady money every single month and it exceeds my expenses, then you've got freedom. And that's really the key. Now, like I said, if I own gold, I don't have that money coming in every month. If I have stocks, there are some stocks that pay out dividends. So you can have stocks that will give you cash flow. However, a stock, when they pay you out, the value of the stock goes down because now the value of the company isn't as much because they don't have as many assets. They just paid out a bunch of money to their investors. So the value of a stock the day before it pays out is a lot different than the day after it pays out. With real estate, obviously it's not a straight trajectory where it's always going up, but in general, real estate is going up in general, as especially you realtors know, the markets that you're in, the prices are not the same on the real estate as they were 10 years ago, are they? No. So they will keep going up. But even if they don't, you're never in a position where you have to sell it to get that gold at the end of every month. So I'm going to go into a lot more detail on that. And the other thing is you have a lot more control. If I go invest in Apple shares right now, if I were to go buy Apple shares, I can't call up Apple and say, I don't really want you to build that product. I think you should build this product instead. I got no say in what they're doing. If I buy shares in something, I'm at the mercy of the people behind the scenes. And I happen, for my travels, a lot of my clients are people that are very high up in different companies. And many of them have told me that the stuff that they said, that the shareholders hear about and the stuff that's actually going on behind the scenes are two very, very different things. So the stock market, as we know, is very manipulated. In addition to having very little control, you're not really getting the real picture of what's going on behind the scenes in these companies. Then we have mutual funds, which are, financial planners tell us are a safer way to buy stocks because now you're mixing a whole bunch of them together. Well, the biggest problem with that is what they call the MER, management expense ratio. And in this country, quite often when you invest $100,000 in mutual funds, you only have $97,000 or $98,000 working for you. So just to get back to where you started, it's got to go up. And on top of that, still you don't have that money coming in every single month. So real estate to me is really a no-brainer between the tax benefits, the cash flow, the appreciation, and the safety and the control of it. Makes it very, very easy once you wrap your head around it. And the biggest problem is most of us, we're not taught in school how do you buy real estate safely, how do you do it properly. And that's why I want to help you guys do this. And by the way, I love what I do. This is not, I'm only here because if I didn't love doing this, I wouldn't be here right now. This to me is fun. I love teaching. I didn't know I loved teaching until earlier on in my career when I got an opportunity. Well, it was a very scary opportunity at the time when I got asked to speak for a very well-known big company that goes across North America putting on seminars. And would have been very, very easy for me to say no because I was terrified to go on stage. I'm very comfortable now, by the way, but back then I was terrified. And I remember the first time I ever spoke, I was like sweating profusely and stuttering, and I thought I had totally bombed. And then afterwards, people came up and said, "Man, we learned so much, and how can we work with you?" And I thought, I kind of like this speaking thing. So I got over that fear over time, but I absolutely love this stuff. So I'm here for you guys, not just today, but anytime. I know a lot of people here have called me before with real estate related questions. I'm happy to answer your questions. It's not something that I am. The meter's not running. You guys can call me anytime you like. And I appreciate that you're here. And I want to help you whenever you have a challenge, a question, even if it has nothing to do with this, if it has to do with your real estate you already own, or you made a mistake, or whatever it is. If you have a question about real estate, feel free to call me because I love this stuff. So it's not just something that's valid for today and tomorrow, and then after that, you'll never see me again. I'm going to be around, and I will still be doing real estate forever, I guarantee it.